Indie Comics Podcast.
Hello comics people! Ako si Mel Kasipit and welcome to Indie Comics Live sa Kumu. Ayan. So kasama natin yung napaka prolific and jet setter na organizer ng Komiket and Philippine International Comics Festival online. PAOLO HERRAS, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you for inviting me.
Mm-mm.
Hello, everyone.
Hello everyone sa Kumu. Ayan. So si PAOLO HERRAS yung organizer ng Komiket, PICOF. Kasama yung Komiket committee syempre. Magsisimula na siya bukas. So all weekends of September. Ayan, so busy kayo lahat pa, no? Wala na bang tulugan yan o
Ay, hindi. Isasend na lang yung mga webinar link sa attendees, which is being done now. And then everything is ready for tomorrow. We just have to make sure we wake up early to come here. And but it's exciting because for the third year, we've been holding these online festivals, and we've been growing our network of international comics festivals, publishers, creators, critics, scholars, readers around the world, and so more and more people are getting to know more about Filipino comics.
ano yung bago sa second year ng PICOF PAO na wala last year?
Well, it's our third year.
Third year. Oo. Ano yung bago nung ngayong third year sa nawala last year sa second year?
This year, it's going to be a free festival for all. So that's because we have partners like Kumu, who is going to be broadcasting the festival on the app and on Komiket's and Philippine International Comics Festival social media pages.
Mm-mm.
So more and more people are going to get to enjoy the webinars for free. And I'm not sure if this is going to be the last online festival, because next year we are aiming for a physical event of the Philippine International Comics Festival, and all of the people that we've been making friends with the past 3 years would hopefully come here and exhibit at the PICOF next year.
Oo. Actually, parang nabanggit mo sa akin na hindi magiging face-to-face na this year eh. Anong nangyari? Bakit online ulit?
Oh, no.
O next year yun?
It was really next year. Because we were still thinking that it takes 6 months to 1 year for international delegates to plan and to plan in advance, because it's not just it's expensive to travel, but also how to bring the books there, or here, how to bring the books here in the Philippines. Basically, because Komiket as a bookstore, they can send us the books, and then we can receive the books for them to sell in the event next year. That's why we're hoping a lot of the speakers this year and the past 3 years would consider coming here.
So, Philippine International Comics Festival, bakit siya, balik tayo pa sa pinakaumpisa. So, origin story ng PICOF. So, kasi naalala ko to 2020 to Ito yung time na prepared na, meron ng venue. Magpi-PICOF na, tapos biglang pandemic, boom.
Oh yeah, that's 2020.
Oo.
Yeah. It was actually a blessing in disguise for us, because we didn't, when we thought of the PICOF, we didn't know, there's a lot of things that we didn't know. How long, and it's the things that are out of our control. No, of course, the PICOF was patterned after an independent film festivals around the world. No, especially like just to put into context, like for example, we wanted that Cinemalaya effect for comics, and of course, we have a very very similar situation to independent to to cinema to Filipino films back in the early 2000s, no, na there's very few people producing films, and it had a lot to do with piracy. It had a lot to do with um, high distribution costs, and what the Cinemalaya did was that they play they started to help fund filmmakers to create their own films, and these films would get accepted in international film festivals abroad, would get recognized, sometimes win awards or critical acclaim, and then that's when viewers, that's when Filipino viewers, Filipino audiences would consider to watch them.
Oo.
And for the past over 15 years, it started to grow more viewers for Philippine cinema. And that was what we wanted. We wanted to grow the readership of Filipino comics. And it was such a, we didn't know if creators would respond well to the call for entries. We didn't know how long the creators would take. For a film, it took a year. So we started with that 1 year timeline. And we don't know also if readers would be willing to buy the PICOF official selection. So there was a lot that we didn't know. The only thing that we did have was that we believed very, very much in the Filipino comics community. So we believe in the talent. We know what makes us unique is our independent spirit in storytelling. Nobody has control over what stories we self-publish, what gets read, what stories to tell. So we knew from the very beginning that if we're going to start publishing, helping develop and publish original work, it had to be, we had to stay true to the voices of the authors and the creators. So that's how it was first conceptualized. When we announced the PICOF for call for entries, we were overwhelmed with so many entries, and we had our first batch. So when the pandemic came, it was also a blessing in disguise because it was so much pressure for the creators to finish their work in a year.
Oo.
So it bought time. The pandemic bought us time. It bought time for creators to focus on their work. It also bought time because some of the creators got sick, or they had to attend to jobs and their livelihood to secure their families and themselves first. And it also gave the Komiket board, time to reflect on what do we really want to do. Do we really just want to organize events? Is this the only thing that we really want to do? And when it was taken away from us, it bought us time to think, because before we were chasing event after event after event. And what we did discover was what we really wanted to do was publish. What we really had the capacity to do was develop content, especially with my background in advertising, in film, and in literature as well. So putting it all combined, we played to our strengths. And we knew that when events would come back, if we published, we had the events to sell the books. So what we didn't know at that time was we were actually recreating a healthier environment for creators to survive and thrive. And we were just lucky that the creators did not give up. The creators continued to publish, continued to develop their work. we Bambi and Olan and Kat Sakdalan were the first two that got published in 2020,
Mm-mm.
followed by Tori, Jay, and JB. And then, and now we have Sean Manoloto of Godheart, who's going to be published and released in the MIBF this year.
Mm-mm.
So we're working towards that. So it's okay if we just keep on publishing whoever gets done, and we'll culminate next year in the physical event of PICOF in 2023, when hopefully all 30 will be done by then. Um, and the Komiket board is committed to publishing 5 batches of PICOF. So the fourth batch's call for entries is
Ongoing.
done. It's ongoing. We're selecting already the official selection, which will be announced in the October Komiket during the Komiket Awards. We're publishing 4 anthologies with the support of Kumu. And that's the Kilig with Romance class. There's Rurok, the Erotica comic art anthology, Thirsty BL anthology, and Darkness anthology.
Grabe.
So all of the creators in these anthologies are nominated for the Komiket Awards, where they could win
Mm-mm.
a publishing deal worth up to 150,000 pesos, 75,000 pesos, and 25,000 pesos. And then Kumu is going to match it with the Reader's Choice Awards of the same amounts.
Grabe.
So, yeah, I mean, we're happy that more and more people are starting to help us do our work.
Mm-mm. Nabanggit mo si Kumu dito sa platform kung saan tayo nag-i-stream. Thank you, Kumu. So, how did the collaboration with PICOF and Kumu start? Paano siya nagsimula? Nag-pitch ka ba sa Kumu or si Kumu yung lumapit sa Komiket?
Kumu approached Komiket. They're also comics creators, so they already have affinity and love for the comics community. They did their research. They know who's who in our community. They know what people are doing. So they went up to Komiket and said, "Hey, we believe in what you're doing. How can we help?" And yeah, it started from there. And we do continue to have a continued partnership with them, which we'll know more of in the next few days.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, it's amazing because before the pandemic, we did not have any help. We were doing, Mel, you were part of the Komiket at one point, and you know that we've been we were the ones carrying the tables and chairs,
Mm-mm.
and then when we grew, well, we started to publish the anthologies, like the community anthologies, and pre-pandemic we put up the bookstore. We didn't know that. I think it was really just good luck, because during the pandemic, all of our funding, we earned it from our events. We earned it from the ticket sales of our events. But when we put up the bookstore, that's what kept the Komiket alive during the pandemic, especially during lockdowns,
Kaya nga.
especially during the first 2 years. And in 2020, it was really tough because it was an invisible enemy. We didn't know. There was a time we thought the virus was being carried by the delivery riders. There was a time, right? Diba? At the
Oo.
beginning,
Pinagdududahan
And-
lahat nun eh.
everybody was suspicious of everyone, and we were here wrapping books and selling the books, so that also the creators can still earn from their work. And we just stuck it out, and it opened opportunities like our Shopee and Lazada store, and and we just kept at it, and we started to grow our readers. And it's amazing because last year we had over 7,000 readers that buy comic books from us.
Mga bagong readers yun, no?
That's new. And that's not 7,000 books sold, that's 7,000 readers, and a lot of them repeat purchases.
Oo.
So a lot of them are happy with what they are reading, that they support other titles as well. So our job, I think we've been able to do our job well with what little we had and what we could. And we will be part of the Manila International Book Fair next in the next couple of weeks. We have 3 booths there. 2 booths are for the bookstore, and we have almost, I think, over 200 titles available in our booth. And we also carry Ricky Lee's books, Romance Class. We also have Tablai's novel and Wincy Ong's short stories, horror short stories, because there are other authors that also need help. So, and then one booth specifically, excuse me, sorry.
Bless you, Pao.
For book signing. So there's one, the third booth is just dedicated for book signing. So Trentadong Calvo will be there, Paul Medina will be there, Nina Esguerra of Romance Class will be there, Kawang's Comics, SS Kite, the PICOF authors will be there to sign books.
Grabe, mga superstars yung mga guests nyo, Pao. Clarify ko lang. So yung Indie Village, kasama kayo doon o iba siya, mayroong talaga kayong booth? Kasi si Comic Con mayroong booth din saka si Avenida, di ba?
Yeah, actually we were supposed to be part of that Indie Village. We had 2 booths there. Actually, we requested for 3 booths. I was discussing this with Nida, but the problem is it wasn't enough space for us to carry our 200 plus titles. So we had to get the regular booths because the booths in the Indie Village are smaller. They're 2x2.
Okay.
So we let go of our 2 booths in the Indie Village, and then we just kept we just got 2 booths nung una. And then we realized after joining after putting up the Komiket Ortigas and then joining the Toycon, and Komiket had an area in Toycon that there were so many people who were excited to go back and join events. The sales was very strong, and we knew that the strong sales was because the creators were there. And that is why the Komiket has been doing so well all these years, because the creators are the ones selling their books. So that's why we got a 3rd booth just to dedicate it for book signing, because that would be what would sell the books. It's not just having a booth there, but having the creators there to sign the booths, sign the books in the booth.
Pwede naman, isign nila yung booth, Paul Medina was here. Ganun.
So,
ayun. Ay, maraming salamat sa mga maraming nagbibigay ng virtual gift. Ayan. So excited na sila sa So grabe, MIBF 3 yung booth nyo, tapos isang booth for for signing lang. Anyway, marami naman kasing marami ng libro yung yung store nyo. So mapupuno sigurado yan ng libro.
Yeah, we have our 2 booths has around 10 shelves. So like one shelf is just dedicated to the PICOF authors, kasi we have 6 already. Sean Manoloto's God Art is our sixth. We also have the Tuttle books, so Mythology Class, Halina Filipina, Alternative Alamat, Dwellers will be there. I don't know kung aabot yung Melag. I hope so. If
Yung
not,
international na na print.
yes. Oo. So I don't know if it's gonna be ready, but the Tuttle books will be there. We don't know if the Sampan lady is going to be ready, but we should have it. We have the indies. We have Totos Silaw Publishing with us. SS Kite, Kawangis Comics is with us. A lot of the indies, especially. Ramark's Office Mates, Your Books, Mel, Lingon, Kalos is there also. So Paul Medina will also be there. So he has one shelf. So yun, I'm looking at the titles eh. So also Kubori Kick yan.
Baka madulas ka, Pao.
Oo.
Bawal sa kumong mga dito.
Oo. Sabaw na eh. Sorry. So we know that it's so we also know that National Bookstore and Fully Booked won't be there. So we want to maximize the space and the opportunity that, office supplies will not be there in the Manila International Book Fair. So so we want to make sure that we have all of the books available. We'll also be carrying Anino Comics and Avenida Books also with us. We know kasi that some people might not be in that area and might just be in our area and buy the books from us. At the end of the day, the money goes back to the publishers and the creators. So we don't see any problems with that one. Ricky Lee will be signing on Sunday.
Nice. National artist.
Yes.
Sigurado, yun, maraming bibili sa magpapapirma.
And we have 3 new books. The Trentadong Kalbo Volume 3, the Kilig Comics Anthology will come out in the Manila International Book Fair, and Godheart.
Grabe. Congrats. First of all, congrats sa Komiket and PICOF style. Grabe. Napaka-prolific at grabe. Na-handle nyo yung ganyang karaming releases. Tapos kukunti lang kayo sa Komiket committee.
Yeah. Medyo andito pa si Rom sa office nagsasend ng attendee links for the webinars tomorrow.
Ayan, so balikan natin yung PICOF PAO. So bukas magsisimula na yung PICOF Philippine International Comics Festival online. Yan. So ano yung mga nilook forward mong talks na bago? Kasi may mga babalik, 'di ba? May mga uulit na magtutok.
Yeah, because there's so much to look forward to. You could actually see how Komiket thinks and what we're thinking of. No, these are clues of what we're thinking of, especially in comics. Like, there is a reason why Ian Velasquez we're asking him to speak about Ponyang. There is also a reason why Tristan Lapusier is also going to talk about indexing, which is the next step, archiving. So you could see that we're kind of like pushing towards archiving also, and we can't do everything alone. And the success of Komiket it was never because we were doing things alone. I mean, it was always a community effort. So we're hoping that people will respond well to the vintage comics, and if there are collectors or people with collections, would share their collections so that we could start archiving. That's one thing one thing that we hope would grow. We hope it would start. This would start something that would lead towards archiving. We start the people that we meet, like in the past 3 years, or including this year, the people that we meet would eventually become a speaker in the PICOF. So last year we had Diwata Comics. This year naman we had Kwento Comics, an all-Filipina comics team. Half are from the US and half are from the Philippines.
Nice.
I met the illustrator in Davao when I was in the Davao Pop Culture Expo a few weeks ago. And it's fantastic, no? So that's why it's a mix of people that we meet and people that we want to reach out. Like Taishan from Taiwan is a publisher from Taiwan. So we want to see the work that she does. The graphic medicine group also.
Sila Doc Carlo.
Doc Carlo, and there's actually a group of people like Doc Carlo that is using comics to help educate people on on health. No? So that's so that hopefully next year they'll travel to the Philippines and we get to meet them in person. And we also partnered with Dway Tan of Comics Cube, who has fantastic access to these legendary creators.
Grabe yun. Napanood ko yung ano niya, yung interview niya with Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman na siya ngayon.
Yeah, so it also works both ways. These legends start to get to know about the Philippines and Filipino comics. And that's how we are growing the readership and the production of comics. I mean, it has to come from, it's an indirect way because it creates a higher perceived value for comics. Because we know, I mean, the community knows how talented we are. And it's not about not being good enough. It's about how do we have other people realize our true value, diba? So this is one way. It's getting international recognition, international acclaim, international partnerships, and that adds value to our local work. So everything that Komiket does is strategic. It's not doing things on a whim. So everything has a purpose, no? And then some people may not agree with it, but we stuck to it, and so far it's proven effective naman. When we make mistakes, we learn from it and improve on it next time. And at the end of the day, we can't do everything, and a lot of the work that we do is still reliant on the creators if they are willing to cooperate and do the work. Kasi if we have nothing to showcase, then it would render PICOF useless also. So again, one last.
Sige.
Have a webinar on the last weekend. So we're looking forward to Dave McKean being part of PICOF.
No, si Dave McKean, idol yun. Sa ano yun? Sa Neil Gaiman, ano din yun, di ba? Sa Sandman, ng mga covers. Sana pumunta sila dito.
Well,
oo.
it's getting to know you first. So hopefully they get inspired and excited about the Filipino community of creators and readers here. And we can. This is first contact. So if they like us, then maybe they might
come back
in person next year.
Sino yung dream comics creator or writer na gusto mong ma-invite sa PICOF na hindi pa siya so far nasa PICOF guest list?
That's
secret.
A very hard question to answer. Can I just...
Sige, balikan natin yan. Oo.
So, sige. So, I'll just, I'll just keep quiet na lang muna about
Oo,
that
baka
one.
ma-jinx eh. Saka, basta, let, isipin mo na lang tapos, yan, ma-attract natin sila, papunta na sila next year
Yeah.
sa PICOF.
Our bookstore is called Secret HQ for a reason. We like to keep quiet about things before we announce until it's really sure, you know. But yeah, we started to dream a little bit bigger, and that's also what we've been telling our creators, especially the ones that we do are planning to publish, na for people to dream a little bit bigger, that the world is within reach. Tori has an international publishing deal
Disney pa.
as an honorary agent.
Grabe.
So the before we were just focusing on selling in our own small community events, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now, suddenly, we have access to the world. Excuse me.
What's your, yung greatest achievement so far? Oh, hindi naman secret yun eh. Na-achieve mo na kasi. So, ano yung masasabi mong, wow, nagawa ko to?
For me, it's really, wow, I was able to publish our creators. I was able to help them realize their potential, be part of their journey for their own achievements. Ako, if it's just that, I think that's the biggest achievement, helping others achieve their goals and their dreams. I think that's the biggest
So marami yun, my greatest achievements. Kasi marami kang natulungang mga creators na mai-publish yung gawa nila eh.
Well, everybody's different eh. Tarantadong Kalbo is different. J. Ignacian Alandal is different. Karvik of Sari Sari Story is different. Every RH Kilantang and Ali Kilantang of Alitaptap is different. So, I think I was prepared to do this. I think my experience in advertising and independent filmmaking.
Nanonood si Angelo oh. Sorry
And
Angelo, hindi mo nakita na pinupuri namin kanina yung Kumu. Hindi mo narinig, sayang.
So, yun, I think it was because I was just thinking, what would if I was in their place, how would I, and I had the capacity to do things the way I would want it, how would it be? Of course, I came from the Ricky Lee scriptwriting workshop, the UP National Writers workshops. I knew the value of workshops, which is why Komiket has been teaching the comic book creators workshops annually. The Creators Lab, the PICOF Creators Lab is a more advanced version of that workshop. And the beautiful thing about that is of these workshops, both the Creators Lab and the Comic Book Creators Workshop, is that it creates a support system for the creators that lasts longer than publishing the work. So these are lifelong relationships that we knew that's what we were building. It's a relationship with the author. It's a relationship with the creator. That's why it matters to us on who the creator is as a human being. Because even if it's one of the team na nagbabalot ng libro habang may bagyo or habang may pandemic, I mean, we don't mind doing the work because it's for the creator. So I can honestly say that everybody that we're publishing are wonderful, beautiful human beings. So they deserve all of the readers, all of the help in the world. So we're just lucky. I think that's the greatest achievement, being able to do the job that we do.
Oo.
I'm just the lucky guy that gets to do that. Um, everything that that seems like everything that seems like a amazing or prestigious thing, like going to attending the Frankfurt Book Fair, the London Book Fair, the Sharjah Booksellers Conference in Dubai, the awards that are won, the sales that gets, the books that get sold. I think that's just like the decoration, the but it's really about being able to help the creators. It's a lot of work. What people don't see is it's a lot of work. The most exhausting thing I've ever done was the Frankfurt Book Fair and the London Book Fair. That was the most exhausting thing. So while it looks very prestigious and it looks like a wonderful vacation, it was the most exhausting thing I've done.
Pero fruitful naman yung trip mo doon sa Frankfurt saka sa ano.
Yeah, so some of the people I've met are speaking in the PICOF festival this year, and hopefully some of the people will be attending the PICOF next year. We're looking at that. Some of the people that I've met, I'm connecting them with other creators or other publishers or platforms. I don't see it as a quick sale that I have to get what I want with whoever I meet. It's what I always do is I first assess what does this person need, and do I have the capacity to provide it. If not me, maybe I know somebody that is better suited for it, and then it's referring them to opportunities as well, because I would want to be referred an opportunity that is right for me, right? So I think I was prepared well for it, and looking back at all of the things that I went through that culminates in this part of my life, and I don't benefit from it. I mean, I have a comic book, but you don't see me selling the comic book in the events. It's there. I mean, I'm there to promote the authors and the creator first.
Para kang representative ng Filipino comics community. Ganun.
Just a rep, yeah. And I don't earn from it. So if there's somebody that gets to sell the rights, we don't take a cut from it either. So,
grabe. Dapat meron kahit konti para naman alam mo yun, mabayaran ka ng kahit papaano.
I'm not, well, because no, it's not it's if I would rather, no, it's not part of the it's not it would be more beneficial for the creator.
Ayun, grabe. Ito may isang tanong dito, Pao. Nabanggit mo kasi kanina na you are a creator. Mel, patanong naman kung may kasunod na yung sumpa. Sabi ni Jello sa ni NGpedia.
That's one thing that I haven't been able to do, which is work on my own work. I think I would want to go back into creating. The work is just so much, like, but I'm sure in the right time I will be able to come up with the second book of Sumpa, the third book of Strange Natives, and the work that I really, really want to come out, which is Fairy Tales. But in the right time, I guess right now, while the opportunity is really for other people, so
sila muna bago ikaw.
Yeah, because we committed to 5 years of PICOF, and that's 50 books at least. So we want to be that for them while we can, still do what we're doing. We don't know how long we can do it, but for while we still can do this, we will keep doing this.
Ayos. Ayun, in behalf of the comics community, Pao, we thank you and we appreciate Komiket and PICOF. Yan, para sa lahat ng ginagawa mo sa comics community, we are always grateful. Lalo na kung matuloy yung yung archiving, yun yung pinakakailangan talaga ng pinakakailangan
Actually,
talaga natin yun.
Kaya yun, but it can't be me or the Komiket team kasi we're only 3 people that are full-time. It really has to be somebody, like for example, PenLab and Webcom, when we needed a digital platform, they put up the platform. If somebody really has that advocacy, we would want to work with them and we would want to help them also. That's why we put up this webinar so that it could start that interest. Maybe there's a collector that is willing to scan the works and share it for the because I'm sure PenLab would want to house that, start that, to support that archiving. Diba? I mean, things will come together naturally. Maybe it's time for archiving.
Yeah, tingin ko marami namang magpa-participate kasi maraming collectors ng vintage, funny comics, Combatron, yung mga lumang Pinoy comics. Maraming mga Facebook groups about lumang comics. Pero yun nga, kung meron sigurong call to action na submit para mai-archive.
If Kumu, I mean, like if Ian Velasquez goes, if you have a Ponyang comics or Kenkoy comics and are willing to share that so that he can as the grandson can complete his collection, so it could be made available, I'm sure he would like that, and I'm sure Komiket would like to publish that collection. And I'm sure PenLab or Webcom or whoever would want it on their digital platform. Diba? I mean, if we all look at it that we're working together and helping each other win, then I think that would all materialize. No? If we have a win-win attitude situation, then when it's beneficial for all, diba? I think it will succeed. That's the beginning. Remember a time when there was very few female and LGBT creators, and now we have a lot.
Oo nga.
Right? So,
parang mas marami nang babae ngayon kaysa lalaki, na-outnumber na eh.
and remember there was a time that it was all superhero comics, and now there's very few. Diba? So it really depends on who is creating. That's the community. You cannot control the community. The community will do whatever they want. I mean, we've learned this all throughout the years that they will produce whatever they want. If they want to do a mythology comics, or if they want to do a supernatural comics or funny comics, then they will. So it's providing opportunities for the creators to I mean, we can only encourage. That's why you put up the comics anthology for Kilig, for Thirsty, for Ururok, and for Darkness. Who knows, next year, if this is successful, we'll be able to do a GL anthology.
Green Lantern? Joke lang.
A Girls Love
joke lang.
anthology, or even a furry anthology, or folklore.
Furry tales.
Furry tales. So it's we're just grateful that we received the support. So there was a lot of entries in all of the anthologies, so that was very encouraging. And we will announce, the last thing to look forward is on the last webinar, we will be announcing all of the entries that made it in all of the 4 anthologies on September 25 at 5 p.m. And all of them are nominated for the Komiket Awards that have a chance to win of up to 300,000 pesos.
Grabe.
They win both top prizes. And yeah, and publishing deals, no? So we'll be there with them to continue their chapters into full-length graphic novels or a collection of short stories of short comic stories, which Komiket will publish.
Napaka ganda ng mga nangyayari. Ayun, maraming salamat Pau sa pagpapaunlak sa Indie Comics Podcast para ma-interview ka about PICOF. Ayan, so hindi na kita istorbohin, baka marami ka pang gagawin for tomorrow. Mag-start na yung PICOF. Thank you sa lahat ng mga nanood. Ayan, thank you sa inyong lahat. See you again sa next episode ng Indie Comics Podcast. Saan ka namin pwedeng i-follow Pau sa social media mo?
Well, at Komiket PH on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. Personally, if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at PAOLO HERRAS. If it's on IG, it's at paolo.herras. And on Facebook also.
Oo. Saka yung Kumu ng Comic-Con. Ay, Komiket. Sorry. Komiket.
And then on Kumu, we have Komiket on Kumu.
Yan.
So that's where all of the webinars for the PICOF Festival will be broadcasted and live streamed.
So lahat ng mga talks, everything will be streamed live sa Kumu ng Komiket.
Yep.
Ayun. Maraming salamat Pau. Congrats ulit sa Komiket and PICOF. Looking forward to more success in the future. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mel. And also, thank you for doing Indie Comics Podcast also.
Yan. Thank you, Pau. Hindi na tayo live. Salamat.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mel.
Ubusin mo na yung kape mo. Pasensya na.
Ay, umuubo na. Makati na yung...
Sige. Sige, Pau. Thank you.